had a job and now don't have a job. Comics publisher IDW hit by massive layoffs. Nearly 40% of the workforce was cut in an effort to preserve capital after a massive profits loss in the first quarter of 2023. Gizmodo reporting IDW, generally considered the fifth largest comic book publisher, has laid off 39% of its workforce. Editorial has also been gutted and half remain. This move was done in an effort to preserve capital and put the company in the strongest position possible to unlock value from its assets, including intellectual property and ability to generate new intellectual property, said IDW. Hardest hit are the marketing and PR teams, which have been completely eliminated. According to Comics Beat, alongside the layoffs, IDW delisted from the stock exchange, ouch, and reorganized its C-suite, including instating Davidia Jonas as the new CEO and letting go of the CFO, among other shifts. The move comes after a disappointing first quarter for the company, which saw a 44% difference in revenue, $11.8 million to $6.6 million from the first quarter of 2022, mostly because there was no meaningful revenue from IDW Entertainment in its first quarter. IDWE was responsible for video franchising, including shows like Lock and Key and Wyona Earp. I didn't even know Wyona Earp was a comic. I knew it was a show and I'd heard good things about it. Some people really liked that show, but I did not know it was a comic. This isn't the first time IDW has struggled in recent years. In the middle of 2020, as the pandemic affected multiple industries, they had a round of layoffs that deeply affected editorial. Many of those laid off by IDW at the time went on to found their own indie comic publishers, including Opus, COVR Price, Zizenji Publishing, according to Bleeding Cool. Of those three, I know Opus Comics. I bought a couple of titles from them, including Metal Monsters, I think is they do, and that's been fun. It is a bleak day for comic publishers when a lack of franchise deals, games revenue, and dearth of television money means that less people will be employed at the subsection of the company that facilitates and encourages original art and comics. Bleeding Cool also reports that many editorial staff were off in 2020 were quickly picked up by competitors. Hopefully the same happens this year. So the books that they have, there's been some really good. 30 Days of Night had a movie. They have the Star Trek license. Yusaku Yojimbo, I know, does well. Transformers license, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dark Spaces, and Earth Divers both got picked up as an option. Whether that comes to fruition, that's actually been on the screen, I don't know. But they got to get some money for it, you would think. They have Dungeons and Dragons, which should be doing. Dungeons and Dragons is pretty popular, I think, at this point for playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I know more people playing it now than I did when I was a nerd in my high school. Like,
I would agree. There's
like it's caught on again.
The crowd, the crowd has the crowd for that has to be so much larger than it was before. I feel like anyway, because that's the stigma. The stigma of being a nerd, is slowly fading. I feel because
back in the day.
But no, if anything, it's just nerds are having kids.
Yep.
And instead of growing up, they're playing video games and doing Dungeons and Dragons with their 10-year-olds, which is what I would do if I had a 10-year-old. So I don't blame them 100%. And now, you know what I mean? Like, some of those, like, if you really think about it, some of those 12 or 14-year-olds are probably going to see Dungeons and Dragons after playing it for 2 years. And then it's like, oh my God, like, that's pretty cool, I would say.
I also kind of noticed this in some of the indie publishing stuff that I read is some of it reads like they are writing it to be optioned and not writing it for a comic. Like, you get the sense like this is one medium to do it, but they really want a different medium for this. And
that's interesting.
This part of the article here where it says it's a bleak day for a lack of franchise deals, games revenue, and dearth of television money. Games revenue, I get. There are not a lot of games coming from comic books. It's like, other than Marvel or DC, what indie title gets a video game? I mean, none. However, there are a lot of franchise deals for television. There are like Mark Miller gets a lot of his stuff gets optioned, or he does it through Marv, his own production company. every month we're getting a report that Amazon or Hulu or whatever has optioned this comic and it's developing it as a show, or other production companies like who plays War Machine? Don Cheadle. His production company has like picked up some things, like Rogue's Gallery he picked up to develop as a show. Something is Killing the Children is being developed. Like there are things out there. It's just not IDW getting a piece of that. However, we did read Earth Divers got optioned.
Yes.
And I don't know, is Lock and Key done now for Netflix?
I don't know if it's done.
They have 2 seasons at least out.
Release?
Maybe 3. And like Ninja Turtles is coming out again with a new movie, Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I'm sure they don't get a piece of Sonic the Hedgehog. Obviously, it's not original IP. But you think that as movies or TV comes out, maybe comics picks up a bit.
Yeah. Lock and Key is done. Season 3 is the last season.
Was the final season? Oh, okay. Dark Spaces, I think it got optioned as well. But if they're restructuring to at least keep them going and then build back up again, layoffs, while it sucks for employees, I understand in the long run it could be better, but also how much are they paying their CEO?
Yeah, and as well, I mean, let's be real, let's say 2 years, how many of those people are they going to hire back?
Well, I would hope most of them are off to other jobs.
Well, sure, of course, but I just meant in the terms of obviously whatever, if they even get severance of some kind or whatever, but you know what I mean, like if they use that as an excuse that they are going to restructure to be able to be in a better position to pay people, hire people, whatever, okay, so sorry, I'll rephrase it, how many amount of people will they rehire back versus the amount that they got rid of, which is, I'm going to assume less than half. I'm going to assume less than half the amount of people they'll hire back in numbers.
Yeah. I wonder how much, it says the hardest hit here are marketing PR teams. I wonder how much technology and chat AI is affecting marketing and PR teams. Like, I know personally, that there is a sales team that now uses ChatGPT to create marketing emails for cold calls and stuff. Like they don't put it together and spend the time doing it. They just pop in salient details and ChatGPT spits it out, and they've saved themselves 20 minutes of coming up with an email to
minimum.
Yeah, right.
Minimum
so I wonder how much AI is affecting PR and marketing.
I can definitely tell you it is affecting it. You have people in agencies, and I see this now more than anything, and just working in Toronto with different agencies. Less than 10 years ago, you would have an agency get hired, and they would have 6 to 8 staff come out on site, to just do the event or whatever it is that they're doing alone, let alone the amount of people that they had in the office. And that's not including, just attendees for different stations and stuff. They, you know what I mean? That's already done. I would say that you're down to 2 people from an agency, maybe coming out on site. I know that in the office, these agencies have decreased from, whatever amount of people, I would say 50% less, minimum 50% less. And that's just before AI. That's just, that's just with tech and everything else coming as quick as it is. Now with AI, I mean, that's just one of the big reasons of why the writer's strike is happening right now, right? Like, this is the main things is that their technology is going to affect jobs. And I see, because the correlation and the timing is lining up, because artists are already getting requests from agencies and other, production firms and whatever to work with AI or work a little with AI to present something. So they're already putting that in the descriptions of the things that they're going to do. So they're already saying, oh yeah, we're going to have our writers work with AI.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, like with it, dude, it's happening so much quicker, and like I don't know, like all these articles saying, so and so was worried because it's happening so fast, and it's like it is happening fast. It's happening faster than I think anybody that's other than that who's people raising the alarm is aware of, and Facebook took how much time to get to 10 million users. ChatGPT,
Yeah.
what, 5% of that time to get to that usage. And I think if anything, um, I know I love that I'm getting spit off onto a tangent here, but the big tech that you and I grew up with, which was obviously they wanted to make money, they were in the business of making money, but they also were trying to innovate a certain amount.
Yeah.
And now, when we grew up in our working lives, having Apple and BlackBerry compete, and then having Apple and Google compete, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
this crazy spiral of innovation and as well, batting heads about the same type of shit. Um, do you remember 12 years ago when we were all really super worried about the security of our emails? And we were still like, BlackBerry, you got to use your BlackBerry because your emails won't be secure. No one gives a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Google
Nobody
just
cares.
Google reads everyone's email and just know everyone's okay with it.
And not only that is how happy you're a flight, and then you look and your phone it's already in your phone. It's like,
Yeah.
well, because we gave all these company the option to do that, and it's not because your privacy is saved, it's because everything is shared.
Yeah.
And that took how long? Let's say 15, 18 years in total, whatever. The AI snowball of how fast that's going to take off is so much more quick. Like I would say that within 2 years, we're gonna see some huge changes, huge, and yeah, I mean it's all gonna ripple down. It's all gonna ripple down, and we're gonna see it big time. I feel so. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sucks for IDW. Hopefully you'll
Sucks.
find somewhere else or start your own company like the previous people did. Anyways,
Yeah.
good luck, IDW.
Good luck.